War has broken out between Israel and Iran. On the night of June 13th, Israeli warplanes pierced Iranian airspace without warning. Explosions lit up the skies over Tehran, Isfahan, and Shiraz. The strikes were swift, calculated, and massive in scale, targeting military bases, ballistic missile sites, and suspected nuclear facilities. Israel claims it acted in self-defense, citing intelligence that Iran was preparing a direct attack through its regional proxies and missile networks. According to Israeli officials, this was not preemptive, it was preventive. Within hours, Iran retaliated. Over 150 ballistic missiles and dozens of kamikaze drones launched from Iranian territory rained down on central and northern Israel. Sirens blared in Tel Aviv and Haifa. Streets emptied. But not every missile was stopped. Residential areas were hit. Buildings collapsed. Fires raged through neighborhoods. In Tehran, chaos unfolded as explosions struck critical infrastructure. One of the most shocking moments came when Iranian state television was bombed live on air. The broadcast cut to black. Screams were heard in the background. Dust filled the screen before silence took over. The Israeli military later confirmed the strike, saying the building was being used to coordinate military communications. Iran denounced it as a deliberate attack on civilians and a violation of international law. As the fighting intensified, civilians began fleeing in both countries. In Iran, hundreds of thousands rushed to evacuate major cities. Tehran's highways clogged as families packed cars with essentials and drove north. Shelters filled, hospitals overflowed, fuel stations ran out of gas. The panic spread faster than the missiles. In Israel, schools closed, emergency bunkers reopened, reservists were called up. Cities went on lockdown as the threat of further missile waves remained high. Both countries suffered major casualties. Iran reported over 200 dead and more than 1,000 injured within 48 hours. Israel confirmed dozens dead and hundreds more wounded. And yet, neither side signaled any desire to stand down. Prime Minister Netanyahu stated that Israel had struck a decisive blow against Iran's nuclear capabilities. He claimed that Israel now holds air superiority over Iranian skies. In his words, "We will end this, not with negotiations, with action." Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, responded with fury, vowing that Israel would pay a price it cannot imagine. He called for unity across the Muslim world and hinted at activating proxy groups across Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq. As missiles continued to fall, the United States issued an urgent warning. Former President Donald Trump, attending the G7 summit, cut his trip short and released a statement. Tehran should evacuate. Now, we're closer to the edge than we've ever been. Behind the scenes, diplomatic lines lit up. Russia called for calm. The United Nations demanded an immediate ceasefire. France and Germany urged restraint, warning that any further escalation could ignite the entire Middle East. Oil prices fluctuated wildly. Airlines cancelled all flights through Iranian and Israeli airspace. Foreign embassies began evacuating their citizens. The world held its breath. Reports also emerged that Israel struck near Iran's Fordo nuclear facility, a move Tehran considers a red line, Iranian officials claimed the attack caused minor damage. But satellite imagery tells a different story. Meanwhile, Iran launched another wave of missile strikes not just toward Israel, but toward American assets in the region. Bases in Iraq and the Persian Gulf have now been placed on high alert. U.S. Navy ships moved closer to the Strait of Hormuz. Every side appears bracing for what could come next. Yet amid the fury and fire, there are signals, faint ones, of possible diplomacy. Sources close to the U.S. administration say Iran has privately floated the idea of resuming nuclear talks, on the condition that Israeli attacks stop immediately. So far, Israel has shown no interest in pausing, and so the war continues, city after city, strike after strike. What began as a sudden air campaign has now turned into something much bigger, no longer a shadow war. This is open conflict, full scale, unfiltered, real. The question now is no longer who fired first, but who will stop it. As the world watches, two nations continue down a path neither may be able to reverse. This is not just another flare-up. This is history unfolding, and it's far from over.